Drafting a fantasy football team is fun, but you know what's even more fun? Winning $2 million from drafting a fantasy football team. And that is exactly what we're trying to do here. Up next. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus. What is up, folks? I am one of your hosts here, the DGen Doc, and I am joined by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, aka Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
Just trying to finish up my draft, man. Just trying to get one last sneak peek in here before we risk it all for $2 million.
Well, I apologize for
You're interrupting, but
you're interrupting.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be replacing one draft with another.
And
Excuse
this one,
us.
this one was a little tiny thing that isn't gonna win me nearly as much money. So.
Well, it's good to get in the reps. It is the
That's right.
preseason and the offseason. We got to start ramping up just like the guys in the NFL do. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, we have a fun episode planned. As we said up top, we are doing a Best Ball Mania 6 draft where the winner gets $2 million. That is right, $2 million to first. What is not to love? We are going to be talking all fantasy today. So up top, we're going to give training camp updates, some big players, Malik Nabers, Achane, some recent names where things you need to know. And then we're going to get into the draft there and kind of talk through a bunch here. So If you are about fantasy football, this is the episode for you. Not only are you going to learn a ton about what are the current situations, what injury situations do you need to be worried about, but also how can we win $2 million? And don't worry, if we take down the $2 million, you can take second place, which is $1 million. So hey, as long as it's someone in the IDP Plus family, we are all happy there. So before we get over to that, let's talk about some news around the National Football League here.
Got a lot since our last fantasy episode.
There has been a lot since our last episode. Why don't we start with this? Mr. Joe Flacco of the Cleveland Browns. He is now QB1, introducing the new starter there. So I want your immediate reactions. This was just announced. We're recording this Monday, August 18th, a couple hours ago, maybe just an hour. So what's the immediate takeaway here for Mr. Joe Flacco?
Yeah, not surprised at all. I mean,
right.
You have a couple young rookies that have shown a little bit of promise, I guess you could say, in the first couple of preseason games.
Yeah.
But going through training camp, neither of them have been super healthy throughout the process. And 40-year-old Joe Flacco is the healthiest of the 5 or 6 quarterbacks on the Browns roster. So, yeah, not too surprised. I think going way back when we talked about, at that point they had, I think, 4 on the roster. And we kind of expected him to lead the way, at least to start the season,
right.
But I think both agreed that at least one, if not both of the rookies in Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders should and probably will get some time on the field throughout the season.
Yeah, I think, exactly. Like you said, we were kind of like, I would imagine 3 or 4 quarterbacks at some point are going to still play. And I still think that's the case because at 40 years old, I mean, I think it's very unrealistic to expect Flacco to be in there for 17 games. Not only from a health standpoint, but also from like a trajectory of the organization. Not exactly the future of the Cleveland Browns.
Right. But that's not the only news coming out of the land of the lost up there, the mistake on the lake, Cleveland. Quinshon Judkins, their second round draft pick, running back, obviously,
right,
was having some legal things come up a couple months ago. Evidently, there are no formal charges. There just wasn't enough evidence that came out, but he still hasn't signed with the team, so hopefully they get that managed and figured out because there is that running back hole now that Nick Chubb isn't there.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of those kind of roller coaster situations. Quinshon Judkins seems like a great fit. They take him in the second round. He's going to take over the backfield, be the RB1. And then he kind of gets hit with this allegation, some battery allegation. And yeah, it seems like now it was just an allegation. I looked into kind of like why the charges were dropped, because sometimes it's like a, did it get paid off situation, blah, blah, blah. But it kind of just said like there wasn't enough evidence to really move forward with a case.
Right.
So, now it's at the point where we're like, okay, great, no formal charges. Hopefully he's be able to get back. But apparently there's still an NFL investigation that needs to go on. Like you said, the team and him have not reached a deal yet.
Yep.
We're, less than 3 weeks from the season now.
For sure.
You got to be able to ramp up not only for your body, but he's going to kind of learn the plays. So this is a very interesting situation. Obviously, now there's a bit more of a clearer path, but it still seems a bit muddied here. Hard to trust that he's going to be full go, kind of step up to that role starting week 1.
Right.
We've also got a couple trade rumors going around here. 2 big names, 2 kind of surprises, at least in my opinion. First up, Cincinnati Bengals stud defensive end, the guy who's led the NFL in sacks last year, has the most sacks in the past 2 seasons, Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
After this huge holdout, and they signed Shamar Turner, and they had that situation going on with the rookie. Now Trey Hendrickson's the only one that's kind of on the outside looking in. They still seem far away, to the point that they're now open to trade requests for their best defensive player. What is your takeaway here for the Bengals? I think it's crazy given how bad their defense was last year and is projected to be.
Oh yeah,
that you're now really making it hard for your best player to get back out there. But what are you thinking there? Do you think it's realistic that he actually gets traded? It sounds like a first round pick and a young player are the kind of terms here.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, it's one, surprising, and 2, like, if they were this serious about trading the guy, like, why now? Just 2 weeks away from football, basically 2.5 weeks. Like, if you're truly interested and didn't think that you were going to get a deal done, this is something that should have been done months ago.
Oh yeah.
At least around, if not around fantasy or not fantasy time, free agency time, around draft time or something like that, where you probably could have gotten a bigger haul. At this point, rosters are basically set. Like, you're not necessarily looking to trade away pieces that you are expecting to, start and make a difference on your football team. Not that Hendrickson wouldn't make an impact, but you're
a little late in the game.
You're looking for a lot to get back at this point in the game.
Yeah, it seems kind of like a move in bad faith on the Bengals' part. Like, they know how unrealistic it is, especially at their asking price.
Right.
And it's like kind of like, oh, look, we're trying, but there's, again, less than 3 weeks. Who's going to do that right now? I mean, maybe we'll see, but yeah, I think it's very unlikely that he goes anywhere else. And he's kind of just, they're really strong arming Trey Hendrickson, and we'll see. Like, is he at this point? He might hold out. Like, I don't. Like, he needs to get back out there to ramp up to be able to play for this year. And it sounds like he is willing to dig his heels in. So this is kind of a situation where,
I mean, as he should,
right?
I mean, being the absolute stud defensive end pass rusher that he is. I mean,
yeah.
It's been years that he's been trying to get paid and just has been
tossed
going around around the, I don't know.
There's literally nothing that he could have done more. Again, most sacks over the NFL in the past 2 years, more than Myles Garrett, more than TJ Watt, more than anybody.
Right.
I don't know what else they want from him. I understand he's getting up there in age, but like, come on, you gotta reward your guys. But hey, we were maybe like, hey, tonight is a week 2 preseason game with the Bengals Commanders. They're playing their starters in the preseason. Like, we're like, yeah, maybe they will start sooner. But when you're possibly missing your best defensive player, it's kind of hard to expect that again. So, but for the fantasy side, offense is gonna have to score even more. So,
that's right.
And then the last one is Commanders running back Brian Robinson, who is not playing tonight amidst trade rumors that he might be dealt out. Which is interesting. The rookie there, Jackson McCory, JMC, for lack of better terms. He's gotten some buzz, but he was a 7th round pick or something like that, right? Yeah. So I mean, you still got Eckler there, but I would be confused by this one. I know you have Chris Rodriguez. Brian Robinson is a different type of runner than any of those guys. You're much more physical. I mean, he's been your lead back. He's still relatively young. So what do you think? Are you expecting him to get traded? Is it? I mean, it just got kind of released today.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that, like you said, just got released today. I haven't really gotten into the weeds as far as even what teams could potentially be looking for a Brian Robinson. I mean,
Right.
I think that the Texans probably jump to
I was going to
mind
say
just
that's what people
because
have been
of Joe Mixon.
speculating. Right.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things where, again, like they have a young rookie running back in Woody Marks. You brought in Nick Chubb. You still have Damian Pierce on the roster. So I don't know if that's necessarily a tremendous fit. And, like you were mentioning, Brian Robinson is your workhorse type back. He's your
Yeah.
goal line back. Like Austin Eckler is great on third down or in passing situations, but like Brian Robinson's the guy that we were expecting to really carry the load for the Commanders.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. All right, we are going to get into more training camp updates. We're going to tell you about one of the major injury updates that you need to know to help you draft, and then we're going to go draft and win $2 million. But before we do that, I got to tell you about one of our great sponsors here at IDP Plus, and that is Bob Lung's Fantasy Football Consistency Guide. We are talking all about fantasy football today, and of course, we want to help you get a leg up. And another thing that's going to help you get a leg up is this consistency guide here from Bob Lung on all your opponents. It's its 10th annual edition. It's been so good year after year that people keep begging for it back. For a measly $15 on Amazon, get your copy today. We are now walking over to the training camp update side. And why don't we start with a guy here that's been kind of one of the biggest mysteries in all of training camp, and that is Los Angeles Chargers running back Najee Harris. Does he have two eyes? Is he going to wear an eye patch? What is going on after the 4th of July situation? We've kind of been talking about it throughout the offseason. Now, the newest update, we was kind of, last week it was the weighted vest, walking laps, Now it looks like he's been cleared to run and jump. He began running and cutting at practice, but still no kind of indication on when he'll be cleared for contact. Right. It is a step in the right direction. He is able to run and jump, it seems now. But where are you at with, how much does this change for you? And what are the expectations? Do you think he'll be ready to go week 1? Where are you at with it all?
Yeah, I mean, eyes are funky. Yes, we are both, healthcare providers, healthcare professionals. We're both doctors of physical therapy. We don't necessarily do much in terms of eyes. We're not ophthalmologists, exactly. So at the end of the day, just general medical knowledge, it sounds like they're releasing him to do more, put some extra pressure on his heart and his lungs and, the pressure in his eyes and those kind of things. But, this is just one of those funky things. Like, who knows? They don't necessarily tell us much in training camp in the off season as far as injuries goes, that they don't necessarily have to. Maybe he did undergo some sort of
procedure or
small
whatever.
procedure, surgery, something kind of a thing. So at the end of the day, I don't expect Najee to be ready for week 1 at this point. If he's still not taking contact, it's probably, to me, tells me that he's probably not able to exert himself to, near maximal levels. So he's probably not been in the weight room too much. He's obviously hasn't been on the practice field. He's got a completely new squad over there in LA. So I don't expect him to be ready over the first couple of weeks of the season, probably.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Again, we don't have the specific injury. We don't know if there was any type of procedure done. And this is a very rare kind of incident, right? From my memory, I can't think of one, at least in the realm of the NFL. So, this is a bit of uncharted waters. But in the same context, from July 4th until at least last week, we didn't see him do much of anything. And then it was just walking. So that tells you, like, for about a month, he probably hasn't been able to do much of anything. Right. So, there's just that natural deconditioning level. And then now we're talking about trying to get in actual football shape. Yeah, that's going to take a little while. So, I think that, this point, we'll see if he comes out next week and he's like full go in practice. Obviously, things will change. But at this point, based on what we know, I would say that, I don't expect him to be out there, especially not full go week 1.
Load up on a Marin Hampton while you can.
Right. And now that's kind of, we'll see. And even now you have Greg Roman talking about, even if Najee's not available, it's not going to be a full like RB1. He loves to spread carry, so it's still going to be a little bit muddy, but it definitely gives the path for Omarion Hampton to open up there. All right, moving along here. we're going to talk about Colts wide receiver Josh Downs, the young wide receiver there. Unfortunately, end of last week, picked up a hamstring strain. Now, we're, again, 3 weeks from the season. So this is the point where those soft tissue injuries can start to linger into the season.
Start to matter a little more, right?
If it's a grade 1, which is a minor strain, it's more of a 1 to 2 week type deal, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. But if it is that grade 2 moderate, now we're talking about closer to 4 to 6 week high injury risk, and like that will affect the season. So at this point, we don't know exactly what it is. They haven't really disclosed that, and that's really going to come out through practice time and what he does.
Yep.
But as far as what does this do for you, just knowing he has this injury in your kind of rankings and where you're seeing, like, are you afraid to click the button? Do you just kind of hold off? Where are you at with Justin?
I'm not terribly concerned, to be honest with you, at this point.
Right.
I think it's one of those things. It's more team oriented in my mind, that like none of the wide receivers for the Colts jump off the page like, hey, I gotta click that button, because they do spread it around between Pierce and Downs and Michael Pittman and all these guys.
Right.
So I think it's one of those things where even if he does end up missing a week or two, like, I'm probably not taking him to be one of my top 2-3 wide receivers anyways.
Right. Yeah. And so if you missed it, definitely check out. We did a My Guys and My Fades episode about, all fantasy focus. So check that out. But yeah, this kind of just reaffirms one of my guys, which, one of the sleepers there was Alec Pierce, Indianapolis Colts wide receiver there, the guy who led them in receiving yards last year, who's going kind of after everybody else in that wide receiver room. So, there is a chance that if it's minor, he could be, on the field ready to go for week 1. But this just kind of gives a little bit of pause, not knowing what this injury is going to be there. Matt Stafford, let's talk this one. This is a big one, especially for me. I'm very high on the Rams this year, and this kind of all hinges on this linchpin of Matt Stafford and his back and this disc. Now, last week, he had that throwing session last Saturday. And then the expectation was he was going to practice last week. He did not. And then, reports were coming out. He didn't even throw this Saturday. So things were looking kind of bad. But today he returned to practice and seemingly a full capacity. He was out there 11 on 11, throwing the ball around. We got footage of him throwing to Devontae, throwing a Puka, throwing a Tutu Atwell, throwing in team period. So this is kind of like, again, we kind of talked about these low back injuries. They're tricky because they can turn on a dime, good or bad, right? So I think this kind of highlights it. So, where are you at with Stafford, obviously, with this kind of big development that he was able to practice today? Now, I know it's not the end of the world. We're not out of the woods yet. So why don't you explain, what the caution is?
I think the biggest caution is let's see what he does tomorrow. Let's see what he does the next day. I think it's one of those things where, like, we can all go out and do something once, and then our body feels like absolute dog shit the rest of the week. We're getting a little older at this point, and like it was nothing for me to go, play flag football or play a pickup basketball game. It takes me 2 or 3 days to recover from those things. And I know Matt Stafford is a completely different level of athlete than I am, but with this back thing, he is a little older than I am. So, I think it's more so wait and see over the next 2 or 3 days how he's feeling and what kind of activities he's actually able to do.
Yeah, that's the big thing is how does the back respond to the increase in activity? How does it respond to multiple days? I mean, NFL season is grueling. You got to go get beat up and then come right back to practice. And, you only get 1 or 2 days off. Right. Whereas in the off season, you can afford to take a week off. You can't do that in the NFL during the regular season. So it is a good sign. It is progress, but we need to string a couple of these together, to really start feeling confident. I don't expect him to play in the preseason. I don't think he should. But we just need him to be out there practicing, able to throw the ball and things like that.
And for those Stafford and Rams supporters, I mean, at the end of the day, they only have to do it once a week once it comes to the season. So as long as he gets that one good day throughout the week, he can do a little bit of rest, recovery, rehab for 4 or 5 days before he jumps back in for a walkthrough.
like we talked about, it's not the most common injury, but it
No.
has happened before.
Yep.
Philip Rivers, Tony Romo's. There has been quarterbacks that did it successful,
Yep.
but again, it can take one hit, one bad throw to really re-aggravate this and make this tough to move.
Yep.
So definitely something we'll continue to keep our eyes very closely on. But a nice little positive Stafford update for now.
Mhm.
And then Rashee Rice, the Chiefs wide receiver,
Ooh.
a little bit update on his suspension. So, Jordan Addison news came down. He got the 3 games to the DUI back in 2024. Now all eyes turn to Rashee Rice, and we're expecting to kind of get it before the season. And now the update has been that there's an NFL disciplinary hearing on September 30th, which about the case for Rice, which means he will play for the first 4 weeks,
Yeah.
and then he'll likely face the suspension. So, I was initially thinking like, okay, and then as I thought about it more, I was like, damn, if I'm the Chiefs, like, I would rather him. We know how long he's suspended and just face it right up front,
Yep.
before we have to do any
I'm
of
with
this.
you there.
What's your takeaway there on the suspension?
Yeah. One, good old NFL taking their good old time to make a decision on some things that probably could have gotten done yesterday,
Right,
because we have all of the details at this point.
right. Court
He
case has been done.
he's
Yeah,
already gone through his legal process outside of the
right,
NFL.
right,
But I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, if I were the Chiefs, because under suspension, I don't believe that they can practice with the team.
right.
I would much rather just, hey, do your thing, can basically continue with your training camp workouts or whatever, going into the season, and then ramp up for week 5, 6, whatever week he ends
Right.
up coming back. At this point, like, you expect him to get up to 100% right now, and
Yep.
then it's almost like dropping back a few pegs and
Yeah.
then having to ramp back up again. And typically it's harder to do that. I mean, just as an
Hard on the
athlete to.
body, coming
Yep.
back from a major injury, a major knee injury. I know he's looked great, but let's not forget,
Yeah.
that PCL, MCL injury. So, um,
Now, I could play devil's advocate and say, okay, now gear up for a great second half for Rashee Rice because he's had a little bit of rest and recovery time in the
right.
middle of the season. So it'll be interesting to see how he does with this. But yeah, to me, my first thought was I would much rather just get this over with and then get him
Right.
back and full steam ahead.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like, is there really a right answer here?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a bit interesting there. But we'll see. I mean, I saw someone laying it out that potentially, sometimes these disciplinary hearings get pushed back, and can you appeal to get it back further? So what if it's not until the next year, right? Like, we don't actually know. We kind
Yeah.
of have an idea, but clearly the NFL is its own monster. It's going to do what it wants to do. So, very interesting there how they decided to handle that.
Yep.
We've got a couple more training camp updates, and then we're going to draft this team that is hopefully going to bring us maybe $3 million between the two of
What
us
do you
there
mean
for take
hope?
home.
I'm bringing
I'm
them to you.
confident. All right, we're bringing back a Millie, baby. Before we do that, let me tell you about our flagship here, which is idpplus.com. If you are a football nut like ourselves, you want football content all the time, 24/7, you got to head over to idpplus.com. We're talking football 365 every single day. Whether you want to be a better NFL fan, whether you want to have a better fantasy team, or whether you want to be a more profitable bettor, we can help you with all of those things over on idpplus.com. And of course, offense, defense, special teams, we talk all sides of the ball there.
Yep.
Moving along with these training camp updates, my guy, Malik Nabers, New York Giant here. So he was dealing with the chronic toe thing. We've kind of already known about that. It's been since college. He's been able to be one of the best wide receivers in the league still with it, and in college and stuff. But he was out for 11 days, and there was kind of questions on what it was. Was it toe? Was it something else? So now it comes out he's dealing with minor back tightness where he, missed some games, missed some preseason. I see this as a young player. There's no structural damage.
Yep.
I'm not super concerned. Obviously, I have some bias being a Giants fan. So why don't you tell me, are you concerned about this for me, like Neighbors? Are you fading him? Like, where are you at with this situation?
I mean, I'm not fading him by any means. I mean, it's a little bit of a concern going into the season, but at the end of the day, like, I'm still taking Malik Nabers in the top 12, 15 of my fantasy drafts. And
Right.
I think it's just one of those things where, like you said, he's a young guy that should be able to bounce back from back tightness. This is much different than the disc related things that
Right.
are dealing, or that Matt Stafford's dealing with. With Nabers, my bigger concern is like it's the toe thing, and then the back thing, and then it's a concussion thing, and like
The sheer
injuries start
number.
to pile up a
Right.
little bit just from just an overall body
Right.
concept. But yeah, no, I'm not necessarily worried about Nabers.
Yeah, I don't think this minor thing should really change whatever your perspective was of Neighbors going in.
Nope.
It's a decent note, but yeah, this should not affect him week one and moving forward.
Yep.
Now, a guy that is dealing with something that is a little bit more concerning. Achane was they came out soft body lower or soft tissue lower body issue.
Yep.
Sound more mild to moderate, whatever. Came out today. It's a calf injury. So he's not going to practice at all this week and kind of get reassessed from there. The expectation is he will play week one, which kind of leads it to they're expecting it to be more of that grade 1 minor, which is a 1 to 2 week thing. But then there is some, re-injury risk when you come back to practice there. So what about Achane? A little bit more serious of an injury, but not something that, is going to definitely confirm that he's going to miss some time. How are you playing this one?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm a little more concerned with this one just because of how he runs, how he plays in general. Just as explosive as he is, like hamstring calf stuff, like you said, can linger a little bit. There is a pretty good re-injury risk out there as well, and just being a smaller running back, like anytime I hear some, especially with Achane and running backs that are under probably 200 pounds, like it just becomes a little bit more concerning to me just because they do take, a beating every time they go out there. And especially if it's just some soft tissue kind of stuff that we're dealing with, like, I don't know. I think it just could be a little bit more of a concern.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think, this is something he's had some injury history in the past, like you mentioned, the frame and whatever, and his explosiveness. Calves play a huge part in the power and explosiveness of the lower body. So
Yep.
it does give me a little bit of pause. Not going to, again, be kind of fully fading. We'll see how the market reacts to a lot of these things. That's also going to really depends on where's he going now?
Right.
How much does this affect his ADP? So there's some risk with this Miami offense, and there's some risk with Achane. Now, he is kind of a very good example of a high risk, high reward play.
Yep.
And, this just kind of reminds us, these type of injuries that he deals with is part of that risk there.
No doubt.
All right, last one here. Terry McLaurin, scary Terry there for the Commandos. He's been activated off the PUP. Now, it sounds like the contract situation is no better off. They're still trying to figure all that stuff out. But it sounds like he understands he's under contract right now, so he's going to start ramping up for the season. I think we all kind of understood there was probably no real injury. I know he was on there for like an ankle injury or something. Right. It was all about the contract and a hold out, hold in thing. But it sounds like he understands, these guys need to start ramping up to get ready to actually play. Like, there's no substitute for playing football other than playing football to get ready. Yep. So I think this is some positive news here. We'll see. Again, the Commanders are playing tonight, so they haven't actually had a practice since this kind of came out. I definitely don't expect them to play in the preseason. I don't know what they're doing with their starters, but even if they were playing, I wouldn't expect that. Right. But hopefully, this means that he'll be back. And are you 3 weeks from the season? You think this is an appropriate amount of time for him to be good to go for week one?
Yeah, I think that's plenty of time for a seasoned vet, a professional in Terry McLaurin to ramp up, get ready to roll. It'll be interesting to see if he does, 2-3 weeks from now, dig his heels in and say it's completely different once I'm actually on the field taking hits and has a lot more variability there with the whole contract thing. But yes, in terms of ramp up time and those kind of things, I think McLaurin will be perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, those are our training camp updates here. Now we're going to move on over to the best ball streets here. We are talking best ball mania 6 here. So as we get this set up appropriately, let's go over a couple quick format things, and then we're going to pop into this draft here. So for those that are not aware, over on Underdog Fantasy, $25 for the entry here, $2 million to first, $1 million to second. It is 18 rounds, 20 seconds on the clock. Best ball format, which for those that are not aware, essentially you draft a team and then you can kind of forget it because it'll automatically put the best guys point wise. They'll play those guys, and then half point PPR, 12 teams, 18 rounds, and what is it? One quarterback, two running backs, three wide receivers, one
Yep.
tight end, one flex, 10 bench. So, any major takeaways before we pop in the draft there as far as strategy or anything that you like to do with this best ball format?
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's definitely a different strategy going into a best ball draft rather than redrafting. I think
Right.
this is the time where, in my opinion, the stacking usually comes into play a little bit more,
Right.
whether it's a wide receiver and a quarterback, wide receiver, multiple wide receivers or pass catchers, just multiple guys on the same team to really hone in on that offense if you expect their offense to really jump out this upcoming season. But I think it all just depends on how the draft comes to you. If a bunch of running backs are going off the board right away, like maybe you do shift to wide receiver or something like that. But typically, I like to get at least two quarterbacks, two tight ends, because obviously you only have one starting each week.
Right.
If not a third, sometimes, depending on which guys I get. And typically, if I draft one of those positions pretty high,
Yeah.
I'm going to wait quite a bit to get my second guy. So, if I get Josh Allen, the number one fantasy quarterback out there, I'm probably not going to be drafting a second quarterback until late in the draft.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of, if you got the elite tight end, elite quarterback, or if you have two guys that you feel really good about, two quarterbacks, obviously you want to make sure bye weeks and things like that they're not on the
Right.
same bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could get away with two quarterbacks, two tight ends, and you really want to take a lot of shots here. Yeah, best ball is kind of fun because, you can go for the guys that don't need to be consistently producing every single week. It is kind of that. So the way that it works is weeks 1 through 14 kind of qualify you. You're in a 12-person kind of pool. The top two teams from the pool there from each draft essentially will move on to the next round. And then, week 15, it's kind of a very similar thing. You go to another pool, and then I think it's the top person, then it's the top person again. And then week 17 is the championship week. So obviously week 17 is the goal. Make it to there and try to really perform and get that, $2 million, $1 million prize there. So very fun format. But yeah, it's nice to be able to put your money where your mouth is on these takes and just kind of, really see where you're at, especially in the market there.
Yep.
So are you ready? Do you have, am I ready to go ahead and get in there?
Yeah, count it down. We'll see if we can get in the same one.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and enter. Confirm. Okay. I don't need notifications. All right. There are still, 5 people. Are you in?
4. Yep.
Yep. All right. Looks like we are in, which is great. Much easier to do a show when we're both in the same draft.
Yeah.
So,
I think that happened last year. I think one of us
yes.
took the last slot.
It is always a little bit of Russian roulette there.
Yeah.
As we go through. So yeah, hopefully, we'll both draft through here. As this is loading up, I got to tell you guys, of course, about Fast Draft Fantasy, another way that we can get there. And we have a promo code with Fast Draft. It is plus DGen Doc will get you a $50 deposit there over at Fast Draft Fantasy. On that side. So we are now. All right, we are both in here. Professor Locks is in the 4 spot. I am in the 6 spot here. 30 seconds until we draft. Okay, who are you looking for to drop to you at the 4 slot?
4. I'm hoping for Justin Jefferson. I'll take him all day. If not him, probably CD Lamb or Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk Justin Jefferson. I think it's someone who people are starting to fade. I think there's a good shot he may fall to you. Now, just today, we were someone who was telling you do not fade Justin Jefferson. Don't fall for kind of the all the fear mongering, as we call it. It's a lot of times people hear injury and immediately want to go away. He's expected to practice some today, still 3 weeks out. I think he's kind of expected to ramp up. So I think that's great news. And yeah, I think that Jefferson would be great.
I mean,
But yeah,
I'd take Bijan too if that slides.
there you
Yeah,
go.
I'll take Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, that is very nice, and we'll
My
see.
top running back. I believe your top running
Yep,
back.
that is true, and I will go ahead and I will take Justin Jefferson here.
There we go.
I am completely happy with that. Well, it kind of fell pretty nicely there. Yeah, like you said, we did a running back rankings,
Yep.
and Bijan graded out as RB1 for both of us. So you
Yeah.
get RB1 there, at the 4th pick, and then I think Justin Jefferson. We both had him at wide receiver 2.
Yep.
And so it's interesting because looking at these earlier on in the season or the offseason, excuse me, it was pretty consensus 1-2 Chase Jefferson.
Yep.
Now, the hamstring thing or whatever it may be,
CD's
seems
starting to
like,
sneak up there a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
And then Jahmyr Gibbs, I guess, has just been, there's no Bijan or Gibbs injury news. It's just kind of been people expecting.
Somebody must have been listening to our fades because one of my big fades was Montgomery. Evidently, somebody's been listening to us and put Jahmyr
Marcus
Gibbs
Chambers, baby.
on a pedestal a little bit. So
yeah. All right, Drake London goes to start the first round. We got Brian Thomas, who's I think we both expect him to have a really nice year.
Yep.
Been dealing with some drops in training camp, but I mean, it's tough to really take a ton of training camp here.
Right.
I'm up here in 4 picks, and then you should be up in 6. Well, now 3.
So this will be interesting because I started running back, you started wide receiver. What are you thinking round 2 here?
Again, I think it's still early. I'm going to go best player available.
Yep.
Bowers is interesting. Looking at it now, Jonathan Taylor is someone I think could have an RB1 season.
Agreed.
So I think it'd be hard to pass up on him if he makes it to me. Bowers, I like Bowers, but I don't know if I'm ready to kind of spend the capital right now with a lot of things they got to figure out in Las Vegas there. Oh shit. Well, all right, maybe somebody's listening now because Jonathan Taylor snipes. So I gotta make a quick adjustment on the fly. I think I'll go Bowers then. You know what?
Okay.
I will. Okay. I wanted Taylor, if I'm being honest, obviously, as the hesitation in my voice, but I'll go Bowers and kind
of. I got the guy that I was looking at Ladd McConkey.
There you go. All right, why McConkey?
Well, to me, I already got kind of my star running back in Bijan Robinson. So
right.
Now I'm looking more wide receivers, tight ends, pass catchers, because I believe, like you read off earlier, we start 3 wide receivers, only 2 running backs. So there's a 2 and 2 in the flex.
Let me confirm. Hold on. Because I think it's Oh, you're right. Yep. You said it correctly. 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs.
So now I'm looking more pass catchers, and if Trey McBride somehow sneaks down to me, that's definitely somebody that I would consider taking at the tight end position. But other than that, I'm looking at either Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins,
right,
one of those guys.
Yeah, Wilson was high on both our boards. We'll see if McBride falls to you. Never mind. There goes McBride. So we'll see who comes up next. Tyreek Hill went at the back end of the second round there. Where are you at with Tyreek Hill in that Miami offense?
Yeah, that's a hold on one second. Let me get Garrett
on the clock here. Took Garrett Wilson, son of a gun. All right, so you have now two wide receivers and a running back, right? Bijan, Ladd McConkey, and Garrett Wilson. I'm on the clock, and it's going to be really hard to pass up on Josh Allen.
There you go.
Go ahead. So now we were kind of talking about this. If you take an elite quarterback and elite tight end, you can probably now focus on a lot more on the running back, wide receivers, and just grab some guys late. Yep. I think there's a lot of value late on tight ends, especially, and then quarterbacks I think I can make do. So now pretty much I will probably be punting tight end and quarterback. Not exactly what I thought I was going to do going into the draft, but that's why it's fun because you never know what you're going to be.
You got to be flexible, especially with these best ball drafts, because people have a very different draft strategy when it comes to best ball compared to redraft.
Yeah.
But going back to the Miami offense
Right.
thing with
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, I'm a little concerned, not necessarily concerned, a little hesitant with that
Right.
Miami offense as a whole, whether it's Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle to a lesser extent, I think. But I think their offense completely hinges on Tua and his health and just how that offensive line ends up, um, coming together. There are a lot of moving pieces that weren't a great unit last year.
Right.
Um,
Oh, Cortland Sutton goes. Wow. Jeez. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
So yeah, no, I think overall I'm a little hesitant on Miami guys as a whole. I know you're a big Waddle fan though.
I do think yeah, look, I'm not high on Miami as a team, but I do think their defense might be one of the worst in the league. I think that they're gonna have to score points, and I think in the interviews, like Tua and Tyreek have this like riff going on.
Yeah,
And he's had this injury thing, and I think Waddle, I think he's just set up for a massive year. But there is a lot, like I feel like all the Miami players, there is some risk involved.
right.
Travis Hunter goes, wow. Okay. So I'm here picking. I am gonna go for a guy who I think has extreme potential. And that is Jameson Williams for the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
I think that, I think he's just scratching the surface of what he could be. I think we saw it last year on obviously the deep routes and a lot of those
Yeah.
things there. I think their defense, still
Mm.
is, it's hard to project them to be worse, but I think they're gonna have to put up a lot of points, and I think JMO is gonna be a big part of that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I went ahead and took Jalen Hurts for my fourth round guy.
Yeah,
I think I got two wide receivers and a running back, so might as well get one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think or at least fantasy wise, I
right.
think it's a clear tier one with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and then you can throw Jaden Daniels in there as
Yeah.
well. Joe Burrow's kind of, if I'd have to throw a fifth one in there, he's just a little bit lower than those other four.
No, I think those four is probably the correct tier because they are elite. They can give you the passing ability, but the running game is really what separates them.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts, we were both on his over for his rushing touchdowns this year.
Yep.
I think we both think that they're gonna really shove the tush push down everyone's throats for trying to ban it,
Yep.
which we'll see how that plays out. All right, so right now you have Hurts. Well, I'll let you make this pick, and then I'll
Yeah, so the guy that I'm looking for, and I'm going to draft hopefully next, is Devontae Smith. Since I just took Hurts, that's going to be my first stack
nice little snack there. Okay.
of the draft there,
Oh,
and of course he just got snatched.
We are getting sniped here. We might
Yeah,
have to just wait and
yeah.
then say.
I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley then.
I like that.
Wide receiver one for Tennessee.
I do really like that. Yes, I do like Calvin Ridley there. I'm not going to say who I'm going to go for because I'm nervous now that they're going to get taken. So you have, let's see, Jalen Hurts, Bijan Robinson, McConkey, Garrett Wilson, and Calvin Ridley there. Nice little setup trio of wide receivers. I am going to go with the guy we just talked about here, and Mr. Jalen Waddle. Let me make sure I'm on him. There we go. So I'm
Nice.
now have Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Jameson Williams, Jalen Waddle, and Brock Bowers. So I've got some work to do in the running back room. Based on your team construction, you've got a running back, you've got an elite running back, elite quarterback, some solid wide receivers.
Yep.
Are you looking to tight? How early are you looking to go tight end?
Tight end. I think tight end's pretty deep, to be
I
honest
agree.
with you. I think guys that are still available in our draft here, Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, that we're both pretty high on, Mark Andrews.
Right.
Both of us are pretty high on Evan Ingram. That I think he was on both of my guys list.
Yep.
So I would love to see Hawkinson come up here in a round or two, or potentially Evan Ingram.
Yeah. No, that would be great. Yeah, I agree. Tight ends are very, very deep this year. I feel like at every tier, there's someone that I think really has solid potential there.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously got one of, or probably the belle of the ball in Brock Bowers. I mean, between him and McBride, both of those guys go pretty early. But then after that, there's quite a bit of fall off.
Right.
Evidently, somebody was pretty high on Kelsey still, but um,
Yeah, no, yeah. There is. It's kind of that clear tier one with Bowers and McBride, and then there is a little bit of fall off, and then there's kind of a wide array.
yep.
I'm on the clock now, and I really need a running back here, so I am gonna go with Tony Pollard. If it'll
Okay.
let me take him. Yep. Tony Pollard there. Tyjae Spears just recently picked up a high ankle sprain. He's likely not going to be ready for the season. So it really kind of gives that whole backfield for Tony Pollard there.
Yep.
Hopefully he can get some things out of the backfield from Cam Ward, the rookie with the dump off there. Pollard had a decent year last year when he was able to stay healthy. So starting to take some bullets. We're kind of in this tier where it's a little bit of not super clear with these running backs, so I got to start taking some guys here. Getting some of these. Can't have an empty running back room. So.
Right. Now, and this is where I'm probably going to start looking for my RB2 and my first tight end coming off the board. I have 4 wide receivers at this point. Still only with one running back and a quarterback. So my running back
room, a good setup though, based on what we were talking about with the tight ends.
Yeah. So right now I'm up here in 3 picks. I'm looking for either Caleb Johnson in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I like Hawkinson a little bit more than Sam Laporta going into the year,
right?
Or potentially Aaron Jones in Minnesota as well. Those are kind of my 3. And there goes Caleb Johnson. So
watch this, man. We're not even live, and this guy's just.
I know it, man.
You guys, I don't know what's going on there.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Aaron Jones.
Okay.
This round, like we were talking about, tight end. There's just a massive second tier of tight ends, and if Hawkinson's still there, great. If not,
I was gonna say I hate to do it, but I think
you're gonna be
I'm
that
gonna
guy.
double up
You're
on my
gonna be
tight
that
ends
guy.
and be done with tight ends. And I didn't love any of the running backs in this range. Don Montgomery, Jordan Mason, Brian Robinson. We don't even know if he's gonna have a team.
Yep.
Jalen Warren, Joe Mixon. I want nothing to do with. There is a guy that I'm not gonna say out loud that I do want a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, so there is only one tight end, but you do get a flex spot, right? And I am high enough on TJ Hawkinson this year where I think that he could produce well enough to take that flex spot.
Sure.
Especially if I'm looking probably at my running backs. I just need 2 each week, but with Justin Jefferson, J-Mo, and Jalen Waddle, I feel really good about my wide receivers. We'll pick up a couple here, but now I'm pretty much. With Bowers and Hawkinson, I am not touching another tight end. And then I can just focus on, running backs, wide receivers, and likely, if I'm able, J.D. McCarthy with the stack for Justin Jefferson and Hawkinson.
I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, stacking wise, there's not a whole lot else I can do with Jalen Hurts, and that's one of the downsides of getting him early is because typically AJ Brown goes before him,
right?
And Devonta Smith goes pretty close around the same time. So I still have the outside chance that
well, I was gonna say you could still get Goddard.
I still could get Goddard
pretty late. I know it's someone that we were kind of not super high on, but far as the market, I think there's a realistic shot you could get him. Just depends if that's where you want to go, where you're because I know you need a tight end still.
Right.
And it looks like this guy auto drafted. Oh no, Keon Coleman. Perfect. All right. I am glad I did not get sniped. My second running back, give me Tyrone Tracy, the number 1 running back for the New York Giants.
I was giving him a look. I know it looks like I'm gonna be going. Am I on the clock? Yeah.
You are on the clock.
With Mark Andrews.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, I like Mark Andrews. We're both pretty damn high on him. Isaiah Likely has that foot fracture. He might not be back until he's definitely missing week 1. It sounds like he may be out for a couple weeks. Andrews looked really good at the end of the year. He was a touchdown machine.
No doubt.
I like that. Going back to the Giants running back room situation really quick. Cam Scatteraboo dealing with the hamstring injury. Now, he still has a shot to be ready for the season.
Sure.
But I still think Tyrone Tracy's backfield, especially early on. Tracy,
Agreed.
everyone's talking about how he's not going to get any pass work. Like, he was literally a converted wide receiver. I don't think that would make any sense. So I really like Tracy in this offense. The offense line getting a little bit better.
Yep.
Andrew Thomas expected to be back
Now,
for week
now
one.
that's a little interesting stack that you could pull best ball wise. If it is kind of 1A, 1B, 50-50, if one of them does end up taking the lead, and you could double up with both of them.
With Scattaboo. Yeah, we'll see how he goes.
Yeah.
We'll see, because he was definitely going up really high, and then now it looks like he's RB36 from
Yep.
116. Probably still a touch too high for me, honestly. And I hate to say it as a Giants fan, but I don't think the Giants' offense is good enough to
Right.
have two decent. Like, they're definitely not anything close to Sonic and Knuckles there in Detroit. But it's definitely an approach, of how you could get it. It's just, I really think Tracy is
Right.
going to be the guy. I love Cam Scattaboo, don't get me wrong, as a fan. But, I just think Tracy is going to absolutely be the guy there. Now, Travis Etienne, no thank you. I'll go with the guy here in Seattle who I'm pretty damn high on, and Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Regardless of, Kenneth Walker, was dealing with the foot soreness, random weird thing. Like, he's got the history of always kind of missing a couple games, dealing with some groin injury. And even not, like, Zach Charbonnet is a very solid runner in his own right. I think there's going to be a very clear method of, like, we are going to run the ball in Seattle to, run the ball, play action with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And, we'll play behind our defense. So I could really see both those guys kind of having a solid year. Who would you take this past round here?
I took a guy that we talked about earlier in B-Rob, Brian Robinson Jr.
Love it.
Whether he does end up getting traded or not, I think, if he stays with the Commanders, he just is a completely different running back than Eckler or the rookie that they took. So I think he will still get a lot of at least goal line touches, if not still be their workhorse back.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, the situation where he does, like, get traded to Houston, I think almost was better.
Right.
Now he's in an offense that he will be the guy, and so we'll see. And then that would be very telling about Joe Mixon, who I know neither of us really want much to do with at this point.
For sure.
All right, we are now in round 10, so we have 9 more rounds to go, 8 more rounds, 9 if you include this one.
Yep.
Kind of shaping up. Still got the Josh Allen with the 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and my 2 tight ends. Again, probably not looking to take another tight end. Quarterback, I think I'm okay with J.J. McCarthy pretty late as a stack option there. Okay, now I am on the clock here.
I know you're not going to take the guy that I'm looking.
I don't think so, because I'm going to reach a little bit and take my guy in Jacksonville, Tank Bigsby.
Okay.
I really think he has a shot to be the RB1 this season. He was the leading rusher for them last year. I'm pretty high on this Jags offense, so I think the touchdown potential is going to increase.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I don't know if you want to disclose yet, but who you got your eyes on now that you're up?
I'm going to be taking David Njoku.
Love it. Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things where up there in Cleveland, they don't have a ton of pass catchers that really excite me outside of Jerry Jeudy. So, the Cleveland historically has used Njoku a lot, especially when it comes closer to the red zone. So hopefully he's able to stay a little healthier than he was last year. But yeah, I ended up with Njoku.
Yeah, no, I like it. And Joe Flacco, I think that when they played together, like, Joe Flacco did him pretty damn well. So
For sure.
I like that. I like him to have a bounce back year. Someone who went before him, Brandon Ayuk, someone who we talked about coming off that ACL plus injury. The week 6 timeline's been floated out there. Now, we've kind of both said he's an injury fade for us.
Right.
Is there a situation where you would take Ayuk? Now he's going in the 10th round. Like, is this okay, or still stay away from you?
I'm still staying away from him personally, but I think it's getting closer to the time where you can have that conversation.
Right. Yeah, it was a bit crazy in the offseason. as people thought like he was actually going to be ready for week 1. We've kind of always been saying that Pup is where he's going to end up, and now it's kind of been confirmed. So hopefully you've kind of already had that early intel, which is kind of the name of the game here. Is the earlier you can kind of get a better idea, the better you can kind of get some value, if you will. Tajay Spears goes. Keenan Allen.
I ended up going with Keenan Allen to stack with Ladd. So we'll see. We'll talk a little bit more once you make your pick here.
Okay, beautiful. So I was worried McCarthy was going to get snaked, but he did not. So I'm going to go ahead and secure the stack there. So now with Josh Allen, JJ McCarthy, and my 2 tight ends being Hockenson and Bowers, unless there's someone I really like, I probably am going to be done in both those regards.
Yep.
Let's just make sure my buys. Yep, they do not overlap on the buys there. So yeah, I'll probably just look for some more wide receiver, running back bullets here moving forward. So we got a run of running backs here: Scattaboo, Tootin there, and Allen. Really 3 like fantasy darlings back to back to back. A lot of
Braylon. I looked at Braylon Allen, but ended up going back to wide receiver. It had been a long time since I had taken a wide receiver. So
yeah, I think that's where I'm kind of need to get back into the realm there. Yeah, I would say out of those 3, Cam Scattaboo, Tutton there, and Braylon Allen, who do you think has the best year?
I'm going to say Braylon Allen just because I don't know if and part of it's changing the guard from a coaching standpoint, but I think the Jets are just going to be a run heavy football team, especially with Justin Fields. You basically throw a second running back there in the backfield at all times. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Braylon Allen would be my pick too. Tunes right now the RB3. Scattaboo again coming off the injury. He's still got Devin Singletary there. You could argue he's the RB3. So yeah, I think Allen has a much clearer path. Damn, Josh Palmer went. That was definitely a guy I was looking to get back into the wide receiver room with. If I was a psychopath, I would potentially think about going Kyle Pitts, but with the 2 tight end options I have, I don't think I can do it. So looking at the wide receivers here, I'm gonna go with Mr. Hollywood Brown. Yep, I do think.
Solid pick there.
Yeah, I think that this Kansas City offense is going to have a little bit of a vengeance there. I think, we talked about it, but the addition of a solid left tackle in Joshua Simmons out of Ohio State, I think it's huge. I don't think it can be understated. When you look back at the Super Bowl, when you look back at last year, like if you can give Patrick Mahomes some protection and time, the sky's the limit. And I think that this offense, you're going to have, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice all out there at the same time to start the year. And then, again, no guarantees, but it's pretty damn certain that he's going to be out for some time.
Right.
So he's going to have to be at least wide receiver 2 in that offense that I think is going to have some pop.
Yep. No, I think I had the fastest card turn in history with my last pick in Justin Herbert, knowing that I have both Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey, who's the best player on the board.
Right.
I only had Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position, and I'm getting, probably a fringe top 10, 12 guy in Justin Herbert. So yeah, I jumped all over that.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how he's kind of fallen pretty decently. I know they are, trying to be a run first team, but he has the ability to get some things done on the ground with his legs, and especially McConkey and having Allen back. Keenan Allen's kind of a nice piece.
Yep. And then I'll go Jalen Wright down there in Miami.
To that Miami backfield there. Let's see where I want to go here. Another tier where not in love, but I am on the clock. Okay, let's go I'll go Cedric Tillman.
Okay.
For the Browns there. I think Joe Flacco being the quarterback gives me some, at least early on, promise that they might be somewhat capable in the passing game. They still got some things to figure out in the running back room. I know you got Jerry Jeudy there, but I think Tillman can be a wide receiver too. He can be a big play threat there. Him and Jameis were pretty successful last year. So when they got someone who can throw him the ball, I think Tillman is somebody who's definitely more of that boomer bust guy, but it
Yep.
is best ball, and that's kind of where I'm looking to take those dart throws.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thought process with Jalen Wright too. I mean, I looked at Austin Eckler as well to pair up with B-Rob, but I think it's just getting late enough in the draft that, if Achane does go down with anything, I think that just basically allows Jalen Wright to fill in that hole.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are rounding down, we are now into round 14 here. We both got 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, and
Yep.
we actually have the same format. So we both got 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends here. One of my running back bullets just went in Jackson Krosky Merritt there, the guy we were kind of alluding to earlier, JCM for Washington. Figured at this point he's going pretty late, but I'm okay not having him. I'm not, there's people out there already celebrating and dancing like he's kind of done anything. So
Right.
we'll see how he looks tonight, but I'm not, one, we're not certain the B-Rob trade's going to happen.
Correct.
And 2, is he going to be, they've still got Christian Rodriguez. I'm not even sure he's going to be RB3. But we'll see how he looks because I know in training camp he's been getting a lot of buzz. But again, I don't know how everyone loves to jump on all that stuff. I don't know how what the hit rate is there.
For sure.
I'm going to take another flyer here. And when I say a flyer, I mean a flyer there. Dante Thornton coming out of Tennessee. He's in over in Las Vegas. He's been someone who's been popping for them. I believe his 3rd or 4th round pick. And he's a big play threat. And Geno's has kind of been hitting him a lot in practice, in the training camp, and then also, in preseason. And that, outside of Jacoby Myers, who I do like, and Brock Bowers, like that wide receiver 2-3 role is kind of up for grabs there. So I think that is a lot more open competition. And you went with Eckler.
I did go with Eckler. I was very surprised to see Najee Harris come off the board, the pick between us.
Right. Someone may. I mean, hey, if I know the agent immediately said it was a minor, superficial eye injury,
Right.
Which clearly is not the case because it didn't take this long to heal from anything superficial like that. But maybe he has a good year, but it's just tough to click that button. He hasn't even been able to put pads on this entire offseason,
For sure.
So it's just a tough one to kind of click there.
Hey, I hate to do this to you, but if I get through this one pick, you might as well take that guy out of your queue because I will be taking him.
I forgot you can see that, but that's
Jalen
okay.
McMillan.
I don't hate that. He did have a scary injury this preseason, but it looks like he was cleared and all good to go.
Yep.
Had that neck injury, so that is okay. I was just looking at someone else because I figured someone of your caliber would probably take him from you.
Yeah, especially with the Godwin injury. I don't know necessarily when we'll see him back. I think Jalen McMillan came on pretty strong towards the end of the season, so I'll take him. Although I think he does end up as the wide receiver 3 behind Ibuka and obviously Mike Evans.
I'm gonna go with a guy here that I think is had a lot of potential. Rookie Troy Horton, excuse me, for Seattle.
Yeah.
Opportunity outside of JSN Cooper Kupp to be that wide receiver 3. He's made some plays with both the starting and the backup offense in preseason. And a guy I really liked, I believe coming out of Colorado State.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So we got 2 rounds left. I definitely need a running back, and potentially, man, Jonnu Smith is really staring at me hard.
I was looking at him as well. But I'll let you have him since I took McMillan.
No, it's okay because I think I need running back more at this point with the 4 running backs, 2 having the same bye.
Yeah.
If someone gets to, we got a while, so I don't. Yeah, we'll see. Will Shipley's a guy who he's the RB2 in Philadelphia.
Yep.
And we talked about how many carries Saquon has. If there's the injury potential, he would walk into an amazing situation there.
Yeah, and that brings up a guy that you mentioned way back when. I can't remember exactly what episode that was, but I'm looking at a guy. There's a couple Chicago running backs on the board. I'm
Yep.
looking at Monungai
Yep.
potentially at the
I
running
just
back
I
spot.
just kind of scrolled down and saw that. So we'll see. There goes Shipley. Damn it. Okay. Well, we'll see because I might need to take Manunga here because there's not a whole bunch of running backs that I do like. But
You
damn,
got Keaton Mitchell. I thought about him, but between him and Hill, and it's pretty
murky.
it's very murky. That's a great word.
Right.
Behind Henry.
Damn. Okay. I will go. Damn. Yeah, I'll go Manunga if I can do it. Maybe. Yep. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Manunga there at the buzzer. Would have loved Shipley. Looking at my running backs, could have obviously probably better, but I think I love my other rooms. So
yeah,
where are you at
I'm
here?
gonna go with the Cincy back, Taj Brooks.
Okay, Taj Brooks, like it. Yeah, sounds like Zach Moss kind of getting cut. I know they got P Ryan back there, but Brooks is a capable guy who could step up into that RB2 role.
Yep.
All right, what we got?
Ooh, I may have to go to that one.
Let's see here.
Yeah, no, I was really looking at Mason Taylor with the Jets at tight end as well, but didn't realize, or almost didn't realize, that Njoku there in Cleveland has the same bye week. So I was thinking third tight end, but with them having the same bye week, I decided
It'd be tough. Yeah, it might be tough. So you got 2, 6, 6, and 2. Where are you looking to go now?
I'm gonna go with Kareem Hunt.
I did see him, and I was like, yeah, I know. I think Derek's taking.
If I got one pick,
yeah, you got 2.
Wait.
There you go.
There we go. I'm gonna go with Kareem Hunt, RB2 there in Kansas City.
Yep, I saw that, and I was like, damn, Derek's
got in the end zone a couple key times last year for us. So
I'm gonna go with my guy Alec Pierce.
I looked at him, but my wide receiver room I'm pretty happy with. So ended up going double running back to end us out.
Yeah,
I guess we have one more pick.
We do have one more pick, and I desperately need a running back. I really love my quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers. My running backs are a bit hit and miss there. 2 starters, 3 backups. Let's see if I can find somebody in the weeds there. Oh, I know who I'll go with.
I know who I'm going with.
Oh shit! Are you going running back or what are you going?
Nope, going quarterback actually.
Good. Stay the fuck away from me.
Quarterback.
Wait, who the fuck are you going quarterback?
Can you guess which quarterback I'm going?
Yo, Flacco.
Nope.
What? Who? Are you? Milrow?
Nope.
Dude, there's nowhere you're going. Russ?
Nope.
Shadur?
Nope.
Dude, Tyler Shuck?
Nope.
I legitimately have no idea at this point.
Perfect. This will be an interesting conversation then.
This will be because don't tell me you're going to Deshaun Watson. We might have to have a different.
Nope.
All right, good.
Not going to Deshaun.
Good. I'm glad I don't have to
keep this close to the belt until it comes off the board here. Got 4 picks to go.
Right.
Now this is a guy that is a little bit further down on the list here, but
I round out with Dameon Pierce there. I still think Joe Mixon's situation very muddy.
Yeah,
Pierce, the guy who's been capable.
Yeah.
All right, so then we'll let you get to your big reveal.
All right, ready?
We'll see. Hopefully they don't snipe him. It'd be quite a way to end the draft.
If that's the case, I have no idea who I'm going to take.
No way. Jimmy G.
If this Matt Stafford thing goes south, Jimmy G has a couple absolute stud weapons.
He does. I mean, you're not
In Puka
wrong.
and Devontae Adams.
I mean,
So,
that would absolutely destroy a lot of my Rams takes. But okay, wow. Well, the draft has been completed.
yep.
Let's do a quick review of our teams, and then we will get on out of here.
Let's do it.
All right. So let's start with you, my friend. Let's pull up your team here. So
Yeah.
we've got a 3-7-6-2 configuration. For your quarterbacks, you got Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Jimmy G. Then for your running backs, Bijan Robinson, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson, Jalen Wright, Austin Eckler, Taj Brooks, and Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
Wide receivers, Lad McConkey, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Jalen McMillan, like a lot of those. And then tight ends, Mark Andrews and David Njoku. All right,
Stuff,
how do you
stuff with the
feel?
AFC North tight ends, evidently.
You do.
Um, I don't think it was too bad. Running backs wise, I think that's probably where I would have loved to get a little bit more meat.
Right.
Behind Bijan, Aaron Jones, and Brian Robinson. But overall, I think I did all right.
Yeah, I
But
like
I
you got
typically
your
say that, and then sometimes it goes very south.
Hey, that's part of the game here. But you
Sure.
got your elite quarterback in Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
You have, very solid wide receivers, McConkey, Wilson, Ridley, all wide receiver runs
Yeah.
for
No.
the
Once
team.
I took,
Stephon Diggs.
I think once I took Bijan Robinson, at the start of the draft, I immediately flipped over to, okay, let's build up the wide receivers. Obviously, you have to play one extra wide receiver
Right,
each week to begin with, but um, my thing is, like, Bijan Robinson should be the star. He should be starting every single week.
right.
Let's see what the other 3 or 4 or 5 guys end up doing, and hopefully one of those guys ends up popping.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll flip over to my side here. I think it's going to be a very similar story.
Yeah.
I've got Josh Allen, JJ McCarthy, Tony Pollard, Tyrone Tracy, Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, Kyle Monangai, and Damian Pierce.
Hmm.
Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Jamison Williams, Jalen Waddle, Hollywood Brown, Cedric Tillman, Dante Thornton, Torrey Horton, and Alec Pierce. And then tight ends, Brock Bowers, TJ Hawkinson. So really love my, elite quarterback in Josh Allen. Hard to not love him there.
Yep.
Like the McCarthy stack. Wide receivers, probably my favorite room there with JJ, Jameson, Jalen Waddle.
Oh yeah.
A lot sleepers and Torrey Horton, Thornton, and Alec Pierce that I like. And my tight ends, Brock Bowers, TJ Hawkinson, two of the guys I'm highest on this year. Running backs is going to have to be one of those, Pollard and Tracy, RB1s for now. They definitely have some guys on their heels. The Spears and the Scatterboot injuries help to kind of buy them some time.
Yep.
But Charbonnet, obviously, Charbonnet, Bigsby vying for the RB1 spot. And then Monangai and Pierce, I would love for one of them to kind of hit, whether it's the goal line back or whatever with some murky
Yep.
RB situation. So it seems like for the both of us, the running back room is what is going to decide this one.
For sure.
If we have a $2 million draft or not. But fun exercise. Well, not exercise. Hopefully, fun draft that just you witnessed $2
That's
million
exactly right.
being won here. But hey, very very excited for the NFL season. We are just 20, not even 20, less than 20 days away from
Yeah.
NFL kickoff, September 4th. There, we got a lot of cool things coming up here. I think fantasy wise, this might be our last one until the season.
Mm-hmm.
But during the
Kind of going into
season,
week 1. Yeah.
right. So our way it's going to look for our schedule here. Derek is going to do a waiver wires and initial injury talk on. He's going to record it on Sunday nights. So it's going to come out on Mondays.
Yep.
Then we'll be doing a college football show. It's going to come out on Wednesdays. We'll do an NFL show. It comes out on Thursdays, and I will be doing a fantasy football rankings and final injury thoughts that'll come out on Fridays.
Yep.
That's going to be every single week. We've still got some episodes over on the Bets channel that we are running. College football, NFL. We've got a bunch of content out for you guys at this point. So, if you want to Go ahead.
let's do this, because I'm considering, because somebody's going on vacation and it's not me next
Right.
week. I'm considering doing a little Dynasty Stash 'em
Okay.
show next week.
Nice.
So if you're interested in that type of content, some Dynasty Stash 'em guys that are rookies, first, second year guys that might still be out there in free agency that you might want to add to the back end of your roster,
Right.
go ahead and just drop Dynasty in the comments. And
Yeah.
the more comments we get, the higher likelihood that I'll do that.
There you go, folks. Look, put Derek to work while I am. Yes, I will be overseas, so I'll be out for about a week there. But hey, folks, we really appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe. Let Derek know if you want him to do that Dynasty Stash him there. I think that could be some very valuable content for you all. But fun episode, man. Hopefully, it turns into we can look back on this as we're counting our Benjamins.
Yeah. If that comes to fruition, I might just watch this whole episode once a week, once a month.
Yeah. Oh man,
there for a while, just remembering back to the day.
Right, trying to recreate the goodness. So, hey, folks, very, very fun. We appreciate you as always. So, from the DGen Doc and Professor Locks here at IDP Plus, we are out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.